Connection established. Welcome. It was hard for me to find all the information I will talk about in this video in one single place on the web. Because of this, it was hard to figure out what all those things mean when I was starting to understand all this. That's why I created this video, where I will try to structurally go over the terms like web services, REST, API, HTTP, Web Service API, RESTful API, and how are all connected to each other. I think the main reason why I didn't find all the things on one single place is because of different views of terminology, of mentioned terms, and because developers and tech people mostly intentionally use just short terms, like just saying API, and mix them because of trying to simplify things when working in their closed environments. So, without further explaining reasons why this video, let's start with the web services. I won't go too deep about each one because of the shorter length of video. In one sentence, a web service is a service offered by an electronic device to another electronic device, communicating with each other via the internet. Web services are a type of software system, we can say programs, that allows different applications to communicate and share data over the internet. They provide a standardized way of exchanging data between different software systems, regardless of their underlying technology or programming language. Web services are often used to enable integration between different systems, such as integrating an e-commerce website with a payment gateway or integrating a mobile application with a backend server. REST, representational state transfer, is a software architectural style that is commonly used for building web services. It is an approach that is used to create scalable and lightweight web services that can be accessed from various devices and platforms. Overall, REST is a powerful architecture for building web services that are scalable, maintainable, and easy to consume by different clients. It is widely used in modern web development and is a popular choice for building APIs. Okay, I mentioned APIs 2 times already, but didn't explain what are they. API stands for Application Programming Interface. It is a set of protocols, routines, and tools for building software applications that specify how different software components should interact with each other. An API provides a way for developers to access and interact with the functionality and data of an application or service, without having to know the implementation details of that application or service. This allows developers to build applications that can communicate with other applications, services, or devices, and to reuse code that has already been written. They are used extensively in modern software development and have become a key component of building scalable and modular applications. APIs that are accessed over the internet typically use HTTP or HTTPS protocols. They are commonly used for building web applications, mobile applications, and other types of software that need to access data or services over the internet. HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is a protocol that is used to transmit data over internet. It is the foundation of the World Wide Web and is used by web servers and web browsers to communicate with each other. HTTP uses a request-response model where the client sends a request message to the server, and the server responds back with a response message. The request message contains information about the resource being requested, such as its URL and any additional data needed to complete the request. The response message contains the requested resource, along with any additional metadata about the resource, such as its content type, length, and encoding. In one of my videos, I also mentioned publish-subscribe model based MQTT protocol that works differently than HTTP and is mostly used in IoT for collecting the data of multiple sensors. If you are interested about that one, you can check my introduction to MQTT video. Let's also mention HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. That is an extension of the HTTP protocol that provides secure communication over the internet. It is used to encrypt and authenticate data that is transmitted between a web server and a web client, such as web browser. Mostly when we say RESTful APIs, REST Web Service APIs, REST APIs, REST endpoints, REST service, or in the worst case, just APIs. In this field, we are talking about APIs that are built using the principles of REST. RESTful APIs use URLs, which are also called endpoints, to identify resources. The use of an API means that an interface is public, so programs can easily communicate with each other and act in expected ways. On the other hand, an endpoint is a URL that enables the API to access the resources on a server. They use HTTP methods to access and manipulate resources. The four most commonly used HTTP methods in communication are: GET, which is used to retrieve information from a resource; POST, which is used to create a new resource; PUT is used to update an existing resource; and DELETE, which is used to delete a resource. Here you can see an example of how we would retrieve the data with GET method and using JSON structure. When you open the URL in the browser, any URL, by default, browser uses the GET method to fetch the data to show the website content for you. One more example is the POST method, where we send the new JSON data to the REST endpoint. This will pass our value to the RESTful API. They use a variety of data formats for exchanging data, including mostly used JSON, JavaScript object notation, then XML, and lastly a plain text. So structurally shown, I would put it like this. We have a web service which we host and want to offer to a client. We decide to create a RESTful API and make that web service available over API, which is based on REST and which uses the HTTP to be able to communicate with the client. Developers usually prepare RESTful API documentation which explain how to use their RESTful API, which formats and security mechanisms to use. Probably most known one is the Open API, or also known as Swagger documentation. Each language has its own libraries and packages that offer implementation of RESTful APIs. Let me mention two examples: the Python's Flask and Java's JAX-RS. I hope that this video enlightened some of you with all the collected information and made things that were muddy to you more clear now. And that's it. In case you appreciate my work and want to support me, become my Patreon member and use my affiliate links in the description. Thanks. I hope you learned something new and found useful information in this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like it, and if you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Good luck!